and why do they matter? So today's class, we're going to talk about envisioning your big life, understanding your goal, and then how do we enter our goals into command, and then doing the right activities to get you towards your goal. So let's just jump right in. So this is from the book, The One Thing. If you haven't picked up your copy yet, I recommend that you do. It's a fantastic book all about focusing and on your goals. Well, it's really about focusing your activity towards your goals. Sometimes we set goals and we don't really know how to go about getting that goal. So we just set the goal and then we go along on our merry way and do the same things that we've always done, hoping that something is going to come along and hit us in the head and help us reach our goal. That's not really how goals work. In fact, if you have a goal without any type of plan on how to gain that goal or reach that goal, then it's just a dream. And you really do have to think about your goals like that. You can't just write it down and put it on a piece of paper on the wall and hope that it's going to happen. I do believe the universe conspires in your favor to give you what you want, but it does so when you put forth action in order to do that, right? So if you want to close 3 deals in the next 30 days, then the universe is going to conspire to help you do that, but only if you put forth some sort of effort in your daily habits in order to get there, right? So who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. And has anybody ever heard the saying, you are what you do? It's very old. I don't think we use it very often anymore because we're getting into this kind of atmosphere where we're getting away from work being our identity. We're getting away from production being our value as a society. We're working really hard on that and having full lives. And so, but I don't think that the saying you are what you do necessarily just meant work. I think it meant your habits. I think that who you are is really determined by the little actions that you take on a daily basis. Those little actions those little habits that you have every single day actually result in a compound effect. Do you guys understand compounding and what that means?
Not really.
Not really. Do you guys know what compounding interest is? Okay, so compounding interest means it gains interest. Compounding interest. Here, let's be resourceful and Google it. Compounding interest. Meaning, the interest associated with a bank account, loan, or an investment increases exponentially rather than linear. So if I get a penny today and the interest is another penny tomorrow, now I have 2 pennies. And then the next day I have 4 pennies. And then the next day I have 8 pennies. Does that make sense? I don't earn 1 penny every day. I earn compound. It's compounded on each other and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. So there's a book called The Compound Effect, and it uses the exact same ideology around compounded interest to our habits and how our habits actually compound on each other. I can't go to the gym and do 1 workout of abs and do 150 sit-ups and then magically have abs. That's not how it works. It's actually an everyday habit and they compound on each other. So the more that you do it, the bigger it builds. Okay. So what you can see in front of you is a graph. This is from The One Thing on page 88. And on the vertical side, it says your thinking. And on the horizontal side, it says your time and effort. Based on this graph, when you think small and you take small actions, what kind of outcomes do you get? Small, right? So I want you guys to unmute for me and then talk to me about, in your mind, now that you know about lead generation and now that you know about some of the habits that you need to take on every day, what does small action look like to you? Always.
When it relates to real estate, I would say small action would be not being consistent, not hitting your 10 calls a day, doing it one day, not the other, not
Yeah.
hitting your goal daily.
Okay. What else would be considered small action in your mind? Remember, this is a participation class, guys. What would be a small amount of time and effort to put into real estate? What would be considered small?
Uh, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but
Yeah,
it's like she was saying, if you are not doing what you were supposed to do, like putting in the minimum amount of effort, uh,
right.
yeah, you are not going to beat your goal. However, well, if you put in the right amount of time, like she said, if you have to make 10 calls and you make that 10 calls over time, that is going to result to something that you are working toward.
Right.
But if you're not doing that, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So small actions to me, and this is going to shock you guys, 10 calls a day is the minimum. In my mind, the minimum is small action. If I want to make 3 deals happen for myself before the end of the year, I want to take big action. I want to take big action. Maybe I double that and I'm going to make 20 phone calls a day. But I should correct that because it's actually 10 contacts a day. It's not 10 phone calls, it's 10 contacts a day. You have to talk to 10 people a day in order to get that result. Because if you just made 10 phone calls a day, but you never talked to anybody, what would be the result? Probably very small. You might not get any results from that whatsoever. So small actions actually comes directly from thinking smaller. So when you see the minimum that needs to be done for anything that you're looking at in real estate, anything, work to overcome that drive to do the minimum of what's just required to be done, and step up above and beyond and say, all right, I'm going to push it because I've got bigger goals. Okay, we're going to flip that. What do you think big action looks like?
I think for me will be going like above and beyond. So whatever goals you have, let's say for me it's like 2 open houses a week, maybe I can do 3. But to take it a step further, maybe having like a lender with me at an open house,
Yeah.
maybe doing like a buyer seminar. I don't know, like just kind of thinking outside the box and, taking like the big action.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the big action actually comes when you think bigger than what's been normal to you. So the bigger you think, the bigger your actions will be. So just like Mayella said, well, I could do my 10 contacts a day, but and I'm going to do 2 open houses this weekend, but maybe I do 3. Maybe I do 3 open houses this weekend instead, and maybe I door knock 100 homes in the neighborhood to make sure that I hit everybody, and I'll get my contacts that day as well. And then, I'm also thinking that on top of that, I'm going to do a buyer seminar, which is going to force me to reach out to people and invite them to the buyer seminar. That is big action. That's doing that's not one thing. Sorry, let me clarify. She's diversified her portfolio at that point in time. Now she's not just banking on these open houses being the only thing that gets her business. Have you guys ever put all your eggs in one basket before? You're like, nah, this is what's going to work for me. I'm going to do all of this. So and I'll put this into some perspective. In 2020, what happened in 2020? Do you guys know what happened to real estate and the world? COVID, right? It shut down my business. So I'm a real estate agent, and that's it. That's all I had going for me. I think I was coaching a little bit, but it wasn't big. In 2020, they shut down my real estate business. How am I going to pay my bills? I didn't know. I can't even go and show property. I can't get new business. I can't go on a listing appointment. I can't do any of that. Right. So I immediately realized that I need more businesses. And I probably need to get into some kind of businesses that are going to, or investments of some sort that's going to bring me money even in a shutdown. So that's one example of thinking bigger and shooting for bigger outcomes. Now, I only had one stream of income. I was coaching, so maybe I had 2 streams of income at that time, and I wanted 7. Does that sound outlandish to go from 2 to 7? I mean, be honest. Do you have an opportunity? Do you have a plan to get from your 1 stream of income to 7 streams of income in the next 12 to 2 years, 12 months to 2 years? It's a big thing. That's the thinking bigger, right? So if you think bigger than where you're at right now. So let's talk about some of the goals that we've been setting for ourselves, right? How many deals did you, and this will all be rhetorical because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. I want you to think about how many deals did you tell yourself you're going to do in the next 12 months? I want you to write that down. And now I want you to cross it out and I want you to double it. And does that feel weird? What does that feel like on the inside? What is your brain telling you? What's your subconscious telling you? Is it saying that's crazy? Is it saying that seems impossible? I want you to cross it out and I want you to double it. And now what are you telling yourself? What's your subconscious saying about that number? If the last number was impossible, how is this number possible? That is the thinking that will lead you to take small action and come out with small. The first time I got into real estate and I actually I quit my job and I was doing real estate full time. I went into the office that I had sat with and I was sitting around a table and they were all top producing agents in my marketplace. One of them was the broker owner. One of them was my mentor. So I had 2 women in front of me that I believed were better than me at real estate. And we all sat down and they talked about their goals. In fact, it was like December of 2000. When was it? I think it was like December of 2015. We all sat down and we were talking about our goals, and every single one of them, there was 8 women there and me. They went around the table and they said how many they're going to close that year. 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 16. All of them said 16. I had never been to one of these meetings before because I had a job before. So I was just following suit. And when they came to me, they said, okay, Amy, how many are you going to shoot for this year? And I said, 16. And they all said, oh, well, you'll probably do 8. What did that feel like? Do you think that I felt like I was going to be able to hit my goals and grow with those people? That was very small thinking. I had already been a big thinker, so I was way past that point. I wanted to be a millionaire in real estate. So that is the impetus for me leaving that brokerage and finding Keller Williams. When I found Keller Williams, here's the difference. I sat down with a team leader. Her name's Rochelle. Rochelle actually just reached out to me the other day and asked me how I'm doing as a team leader now. But I sat down in front of her and she said, okay, Amy, how many homes do you want to sell this year? And I said, 16. And she said, oh, why so little? And that's exactly when I knew that I was in the right spot. So thinking big is the very first step in you taking big action. If you only think you're going to sell 3 homes in the next year, are you going to take big action? No. And I know that some of you, I know that that's probably been on your mind. Like I'm sure that you've talked to plenty of people. Most of them don't have a real estate license and have never sold real estate in their life. And they're telling you it's a really, really hard business. You're probably only going to sell about 4 homes a year. I know you're hearing it. I know it's out there. I heard it too. The issue with that is, do those people think big? Let's be real. No, they're probably not thinking big. They heard that from some statistics somewhere, and now that's what they believe. Thinking big requires you to discount the negative thinking. It requires you to ignore some of the pitfalls and to act anyway. It requires you to ignore your own insecurities and your own negative thinking and act anyway. I parked on this enough. So I want to talk to you guys now that we kind of understand that we don't want to think small, we want to think big. We want to have a bigger perspective on what we can achieve in this business. I want to talk to you about your big life. So I want everybody, does anybody have a piece of paper? I want everybody to get out a piece of paper. Get your notebook, whatever you have, get it out. And we're going to do a little activity. And we need this activity because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put these goals that we write down here into our command. Okay, so everybody's got a piece of paper. All right. On your piece of paper, I want you to draw a circle in the center. Make it small, smaller circle about this big, so that way you can write around it. And then I want you to put 5 boxes around the circle. And it's going to look kind of like this. There you go. It'll look just like that. The 5 things, the 5 boxes around your circle, each one of these, are going to be people, causes, or something that you really care about and want to achieve. So let's do some examples here. I want to send my kids to college. So my kids are one of my boxes. I put Lucy and Riley, college. Okay. So I want you to start now. What do you care about? What do you think about? What's important to you? What do you want to achieve? It could be a vacation to Aruba. It could be a closet full of Jordans. I don't care. It's whatever you want. What feels really good to you? Remember, we're thinking big. So get rid of that pay my bills stuff. This isn't pay my bills stuff. This is, what would you do if you made enough money to do what you want to do? Who would you help if you made enough money to where you could offer help? I want to buy my parents a house. So I want to buy mom. It's actually a farm. My mom wants a farm. My dad does not want a farm, but my mom wants a farm. So I want to buy her a farm. What else? I want 6 rentals. I want a Greece vacation. I say Greece because it's one of the most expensive places to travel to. So you see that I'm thinking big. I'm not thinking about what I can afford right now. What I can afford right now is we're going to go to San Francisco. No, I'm just kidding. So it's not about the present moment. It's not about what you can afford right now. It's what do you want your life to look like? What do you want to achieve? Okay. And then I got one more box to fill. I'm going to say I want to buy my boyfriend a motorcycle. It's about 30 grand. I went too far, but it's a bike. Okay. So now that we have all 5 of our things that we want to do, let's monetize it. Because all of our, remember, a goal without a plan is just a dream. Right now we're dreaming. I dream of sending my kids to college. I dream of buying my mom a farm, right? Okay, so now we're dreaming. So what does that cost? And we're probably going to have to unmute for some of this because I want to talk to you guys about these costs, what they really mean. And then also we're going to Google some things. This is practical application of how I set goals. Okay. So All right, unmute. Let me hear from somebody who's got a box that they would like to share of something that means something to them and they want to achieve. You've heard all my boxes.
Probably also get my mom a house since we're
Okay, so
like,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, since we're kind of like struggling right now, they're like living out of trailers, so that's what I do.
I love it. I love that. Okay, cool. So you want to buy your mom a house. All right. So
Yeah.
how much?
Well, probably
how
like a
much-
plot of land, but yeah,
Okay, a plot of land.
yeah.
Okay. Let's say you buy him a plot of land with a house on it. How much does it cost to buy a house?
Like,
What
not too
he
sure. I haven't really looked it up.
Let's hear from anybody else. How much for a plot of land and a house? How much do you think it's going to cost him?
6, 7.
600,000 or 700,000? Do
For a
you have
solo.
do you have to pay cash for a house? No. So what do you usually need to do when you're going to buy a house? What do you usually do? You get a loan, but how much do you have to put down?
It just
20%,
depends.
is it? Or it's like 30%.
3%, right? Okay, so let's do some math here. You guys know I'm terrible at math, so here's my calculator. Okay, so let's say you buy a plot of land and a house for 600,000. By the way, if it's not in Sacramento County, you could probably get away with something cheaper, but let's say it's 600. Okay, and then we only need 3%, right? Do we only need 3%? The seller could pay our closing costs. Potentially the seller could pay our closing costs, right? Especially in this market. So let's go times 3%. $18,000. Is that real? 600 grand times 3%. $18,000. Can your parents make the mortgage or are you going to pay the mortgage for them?
Probably not right now, no. But yeah,
Yeah, so you're going to pay the mortgage for them, right? So when you
yeah.
buy this. So you need $18,000. So I want you to write this down next to that box. $18,000 one time. And then the mortgage. I'm going to look up a mortgage calculator. All right, let's do 6. In fact, let me share my screen. Stop share my screen. Let's do the mortgage calculator together, guys. All right, include taxes and fees. So let's do 600 grand. Down payment is 3%, 30-year fixed interest rate. Interest rates right now are at 6.5. So let's say 6.5. Let's say you got a great credit score, property taxes. We're going to put property taxes at just the 1%. Homeowners insurance for that is actually more closer to about, I'm going to say 1,200. Okay. So here's his payment. So he needs $18,000 to put down because we're going to finagle it. Also, did you guys know that you can use your commission towards your down payment if you're buying a home? In your name? Yeah. So does he actually have to come up with 18,000? If he can find a home with a 3% commission, he doesn't actually need to come up with the $18,000. The seller's going to pay the closing costs, and now all he has to do is come up with that payment every month. Does anybody know what the average commission is for a real estate deal?
Like 2.5%, right?
2.5%. So if you sell a $400,000 home every month, you're going to make a $10,000 commission. After all the splits, you're going to walk away with 7 grand. So
On the
all you
80-20?
yeah, after all the splits, you're going to walk away with 7 grand. So do you need to sell one home a month in order to make that mortgage payment for them? Does it seem a lot more reasonable for that to happen in the future? Then if you look at it and say, I need 600 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Now it's not a very far reaching goal, right? But because you thought big and you're like, man, I want to get them a house. And then we break it down into what it's actually going to cost for you to do it. Quite a bit different. So you need 5,000 a month, let's say in the next year, because what we're getting to is how much do I need to make per year in order to make these dreams become reality? So I want you to write down $18,000 and then $4,000 a month. So let's do the calculator thing again. Let's say it's 5,000 a month times 12, $60,000. So write down 18 for your goal, write down 18,000 plus 60,000. So what is that? $78,000. Boom. All right. Who's got another goal that they're like, I really want this, and you want to break it down just like I did for him?
Want to buy a vacation home.
You want to buy a vacation home. Okay. Same thing. So let's talk about this vacation home. Where is it?
Supposedly Tahoe.
Okay. So you want to buy a Tahoe vacation home. Okay. Why do you say supposedly? Do you not know?
Not sure if it's Vegas or Tahoe.
Not sure if it's Vegas or Tahoe. Okay. Well, those are two very different price points.
Exactly.
Yeah, those are two very different price points. Okay. So same thing. So you want to buy a home in Tahoe. You can use you can represent yourself as an agent. So here's why it would be better. If you buy a home in Vegas, you can't represent yourself.
Yep.
So I'd probably hit that. So do you see how I think deeply about my goals? Like I sit there and I think, I'm like, okay, I want to buy a vacation home in Tahoe, or I kind of want to go to Vegas. Well, I can't represent myself in Vegas. So maybe I buy the vacation Tahoe house first, and then I can Airbnb it or rent it out when I need to. And maybe that rent that I earn off of that can help me buy the home in Nevada.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that, right?
Yeah, I like that.
that. Yeah. So the goal of this, the reason that I'm saying think bigger is that when you pigeonhole yourself into thinking about what you can afford right now, well, we're not living for that. We didn't get our real estate license for what we can afford right now. We got our real estate license to create opportunity for us to have what we really want, which is the bigger stuff. So a home in Tahoe, same thing. You're probably not going to need a down payment too much, maybe 1%. But let's say that you need, you need the down payment, a $600,000 home, you're going to need $18,000. If you can get the seller to pay your closing costs, you only need the 18 to put down, and then you only need to sell one home a month to cover your mortgage, plus the travel money to get up there every month.
Yep.
Completely doable. Completely doable. All right. Does anybody else have something? I have one. My 6 rentals. The same thing, right? Same concept, right? If I can represent myself to purchase these rentals, can I use the commission towards the down payment? Now, when you buy a rental property, now we're looking at 20%. So let's do it for me. So let's go 20%.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you say represent yourself and buying a property, how does that play out?
You're the real estate agent and you're the buyer. You
Okay.
fill out all the paperwork for yourself. You sign all the paperwork for yourself. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
The best time to buy, I'll tell you guys this. If I was going to add something to my goals, the best time to buy a house is after you've already capped.
Okay.
Because say that I am going to earn a 2.5% commission. Well, if I haven't capped yet, meaning that I still owe the brokerage money, they're going to take a portion of that. And now I can't use that entire portion towards my down payment. But if you've capped and you've paid all the brokerage what you owe them, whatever that commission is, You don't even have to see it. I don't even pay taxes on it. I take the commission during the transaction and I credit it directly to the lender and say, here's my down payment. It's awesome. I've done it twice. That's how I bought both of my properties. I represented myself while I was capped. I put down 1%. 1%.
That's smart.
You could do that in the next 12 months.
But you can only do that once, right?
I did twice. So I bought a duplex on FHA loan. I lived in it for 2 years and then I moved into another home. I turned that into a rental. That now makes me rental income. So I don't have a mortgage basically, like the rental pays for that. And then I bought another home, FHA. I'm the owner occupied. And I use my down payment towards the commission.
How
Yeah,
many times can you do the FHA? And I thought you had to wait 3 years in between.
it just depends.
Okay.
It just depends. I think that it had been 3 years in between my purchases.
Okay.
Absolutely. My second home, I didn't get a 3% down payment. I got a 5% down payment. The next home that I buy, I'll probably have to do 20% down. Because the more homes you own, the more they want you to put down payment. But if that home is going to be your primary residence, then you can get a primary residence loan. Anyways, there are options for you guys out there, right? Okay, so my 6 rentals. What I really like about this is that my first rental, the first rental that I owned, I actually kept it I've kept it, but I refinanced it and pulled some of the equity out. So I technically didn't actually put any of my own money into buying a new home. I pulled the equity from my previous property and I used that equity to put money into buying a new home. I also used some of it to buy other investments. So this is why buying a home is like the key to building wealth, is that, yeah, I might have owned a duplex. What's really funny is that I owned a duplex and I was renting at the time, but that duplex gained equity. I didn't just collect the cash flow. I collected the equity over the years. I bought a duplex at $340,000 and now it's worth 600 grand. And there's all that money in there. So if you're renting right now, one of these boxes should be buying a house. Even if you're going to live in it, you're still going to earn equity throughout. And then you can pull that equity out to buy another property. You can rent out this property. You could pull the money out and buy another property to rent out to somebody. And being a real estate agent gives you the luxury of representing yourself and using some of the commission towards the down payment, right? Okay, cool. So now my point about that is that those 6 rentals that I want to buy, do I necessarily have to make the money to buy those rentals? Could I potentially get into a situation, maybe even sell one of my properties and take the money out and put 20% down payments on multiple rentals? Yeah. You just have to think a little bit deeper. All right, so I want you to look at each one of your boxes and I want you to do what I just did. I want you to price it out. So like I've got one on here that's a Greece vacation. So by price it out, I mean, take a little bit of time. I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to do this. Go look up cost of a Greek vacation. And then I want you to write down how much it costs. Ooh, that's cheaper than I thought. Okay, here's another big aha from this exercise that I got the first time I ever do it. Never taken a vacation in my life. I've been in the business for 6 years. I do this exercise one time in bold and I actually did it. I actually did the whole exercise. So I didn't just write down my goals and say, yeah, whatever. I wrote down that I wanted to go on a Mexico vacation and I didn't know how cheap it was. Just crazy, right? So I write this down and I'm like, okay, well, like I've never gone on a vacation. This is probably going to be like $5 grand. In my head, that's what I'm thinking. I go and look up a Costco Mexico vacation for a week, y'all. It was $1,200. Not only did I write that down, but I booked it in the exact same moment. Because what I had done is I had thought really big, right? I had thought really big. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go on a vacation. I've never gone on a vacation. I've never been out of the country. I've been a single mom focusing on my kids. I'm going to do something for me. And then my mind said, that's going to be too expensive. I bet that's going to be like $5 grand. You're going to do something for yourself. Oh, that's going to be, you're not going to be able to do that. And then I stopped myself from looking it up. I didn't even want to Google it because I was like, that's going to be too big. And then when I was forced to Google it because somebody was like, you're tripping, Mexico's really cheap. I Googled it and I learned what all this time I've been wasting by thinking small and putting myself in this little box. Silliness. Okay, so you got 5 minutes. Look up what it's going to cost for each one of these boxes for you. 5 minutes. Look, I'll even put on some music for you guys. Hold, please. There you go. All right, we've got 2 more minutes. Oh, I didn't stop it right at the right spot. Dang it. All right. All right. So you guys came up with some prices for some of the dreams that you have around your circle. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add it all together. Add it all together and you're going to come up with a number. Now this number could represent a certain amount of years of income. It could represent a yearly income. You get to decide, what does this really look like for you? Does it look like this is how much you need to make per year in order to make this stuff work on a regular basis? Or is this something that you need to earn over the next 5 years? So who wants to share? What's their number?
Did you say add each box or just one?
Oh, sorry, you have a number. Add all of them up, and the box in the and the circle in the center, that's
Oh,
the total amount you need to make these things happen. So I'll break down mine. Lucy and Riley college for 4 years at a school that they want, it's 200 grand a piece. Do I have to pay 200 grand up front? No, I don't. I only have to pay per year or per semester. So let's just say per year, let's go 400 grand. And I don't have to pay it all at the same time either because my kids are spread far apart. But let's just say 400 grand divided by 4, sorry. That's 100 grand a year. That's 50 grand a year per kid. My kids are so far apart that now I only need 50 grand a year to handle that. P.S. Once I have everything saved up for that, or I've paid it off, I get new dreams now. Okay. So I've got 50 grand there. Buy a mom a farm. I'm looking at right around the same as Gion. I'm going to need probably about 80 grand because I need to put down 20%. Let me see, what was my calculator for that? Down payment. Let's say it's 500 grand times 20% equals 100 grand. Sorry, 100 grand. The payment's going to be about 3,500. 3,500 times 12. 42,000. My boyfriend wants a $30,000 bike. That payment's looking right around, I think that's like a $500 payment. So 500 times 12. 6,000. Greece vacation. It looked like it's gonna cost me and my family about 5 grand per person. We've got 4 of us, so that's 20 grand. And 6 rentals. Well, I kind of feel like I'm going to have to do that over time. So we're going to go back to 1 rental a year. Over the next year, we're looking at 100 grand for my down payment. And the rent's going to be taken care of, right? I don't have to pay the mortgage. Okay. So I'm going to add that all up. All right. I've got 100 grand plus 50 grand plus 142 for my mom's house plus 20,000 for my vacation plus how much was it for my, oh, it's 6,000 plus 6,000. Okay, so my center number is $318,000 a year. Do you have your number? I hope you do. Even if you didn't do any of this, put 100 grand in there because I know you all told me that you want to make 100 grand. So even if you're like, Amy, I don't want to do any of that, fine, whatever. Put 100 grand in the middle. But I've got 318,000. Okay, so now let's talk math. Where's my calculator? And I'm going to share my calculator. Okay, you guys can see this now, right? You can see it? Calculator?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's do, who's got a number that they want to share? Who wants to help me? Who wants me to break it down so I can tell you how many deals you need in order to hit your number?
Mine is 200,000.
Okay, so what's the average commission for a purchase or a sale? What's the average?
Is it 11,000 or 10?
Yeah, it's right around 10 to 12,000, but what's the commission rate? Like the percentage that you make?
2.5.
2.5%, that's correct. So what's the average purchase price? Does anybody know that?
Is it 500,000?
average purchase price in Sacramento County is actually $595,000. Okay, so 595. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So 595 times 0.25%. That's a $14,000 commission. If she can sell a house, if she can sell a house at 595,000 or get her average purchase price up to that, she could get a $14,000 commission. Does that sound pretty good? Right? Okay. So let's say, so the average is 14,000. She wants to make 200,000. So we're going to take 200,000 and divide it by 14,000. So that's 14 deals. So that means if Mayella can keep her average purchase price above or around 595,000, she only has to close 14 deals in the next year to bring in that $200,000. 14 deals is doable. That 595 purchase price, 100% doable. You're probably wondering, how can I say that a purchase price is doable when there's all different kinds of pricing? Is anybody kind of wondering that? How can I say, and then how can she make sure that she keeps her price at that? How can she make sure? What do you guys think?
I think because that's the average price that you said here in our county. So that's one thing. And another thing, maybe I can concentrate on the markets. I could do a research and see the medium home price for, let's say, El Dorado Hills, Folsom, maybe like more expensive areas, rather than looking, I don't know, Stockton or whatever, you know, like other areas with lower value.
100%. If you throw an open house at a $400,000 listing, who's going to show up? Who's going to show up at a $400,000 listing?
Buyers within that budget.
Buyers within that budget. Exactly. So if Mayella consistently holds open $700,000 listings for every open house that she holds open, who is she going to get in contact with? $700,000 buyers. Is she going to be able to guarantee that purchase price? Maybe even more. Maybe even more. It's getting yourself in front of the people that are buying the homes that you want to sell. Now, I love selling $160,000 trailers, but I love selling $1 million homes more, because when I look at my goals and I see $318,000 a year, but I'm looking at selling $160,000 trailers every month, do my dreams seem farther away? If my average commission is $5,000, then yeah, absolutely. But if I can think bigger and say, okay, I have to make 14 grand per transaction. That's what I got to make. Then I'm going to take the actions, the big actions, like holding open only $700,000 listings. I'm going to take those big actions, because taking the smaller action of holding open the easy ones, like the trailers and $300,000 homes, and believe it or not, you think it's easy. You do. You think that holding open a $300,000 home is probably easier than a $700,000 home, but I'm telling you right now, it's exactly the same. Exactly the same. I've sold $1 million homes. I've sold $80,000 condos. The process is exactly the same, but my check is much bigger over here. So that's what I would consider focusing on for you, Mayella, is make sure that you are taking bigger action and take those bigger listings. Okay, so who's next? Does anybody else have a number that they want to break down, or do we kind of get this? Average commission is 2.5%. Times that by your average purchase price. So say that I want to make 100 grand, and I only want to hold, and I want to work in the lower price ranges. Maybe I'm only going to work my sphere, and my sphere doesn't have that much income. So let's say I want to make 100 grand. Let's see, 2.5%. Oh, here, I'm doing it backwards. Let's say that your average purchase price is going to be about $350 times 2.5% equals, you're going to get a commission of $8,700, right? If you can multiply that, if you can take 100 grand, divide that by 8,750, you only need 11 deals a year to make 100 grand in this business. At a $350,000 purchase price. That's easy. Easy money. Is this kind of helping? Does this make sense? This is how I break down my goals. Sorry, was somebody going to say something? Okay. This is how I break down my goals. Whenever I want something, whenever I want to buy something, I look at it and I'm like, all right, I want to get another house. I just did this last year. I was renting and I was like, I need to buy a house. Renting is killing me. Spending $2,400 a month to pay somebody else's mortgage, it's killing my heart. So I looked at, what am I going to do? I hadn't capped yet. So I couldn't buy a house because I don't have the down payment. I need to use my commission. So my goal was to cap. Now, when you have your goals that are a big why like this, something that means something to you, something that you actually want, nothing will stand in your way. People are so invincible when it comes to reaching the things that they really, really want, and they put all their mindset to. So I worked on capping. Once I capped, I said, okay, I need to start looking for houses. I actually didn't wind up getting serious about it until the very end of the year. But I knew what I had to have in place. I remember why. After I capped, I had to work on my credit score because I had messed that up a little bit. So I had to get my credit up so that I could get pre-approved. And I didn't want to just get pre-approved. I wanted to get approved for lower interest rate. So I needed a 720. So I worked on my credit score. By the time I got prepared, it was almost the end of the year. But I got into contract. So you just have to break down your goals. Whatever you want to do, it's definitely achievable. And in this business, you actually have a leg up because you have the opportunity at unlimited income, which means that it's just a simple math problem. All of your goals, everything that you want to achieve is a simple math problem. If you can figure out how much money you want to make in order to fulfill all those buckets, then we can break it down to show you how many deals do you need. And even further, Command can help you break down how many leads you will need. Now that's a really good tool. So let's go into that right now. No. Okay, so I'm going to go into Command. Everyone's seen Command, correct? Am I still sharing the screen? Yeah. Everyone's seen Command. And on your main page, you're going to see this thing that says goals. Let's go set some goals. In fact, we can set goals for 2023. So when you click on goals, it's going to, I don't know if you saw this, but here's the main goals page. On your flyout menu right here, it's under reports. It's under reports, and then you can click on goals. I'm going to click on goal settings, and then I'm going to click get started. I get to select what year I'm going for. So I'm going to go for 2023. My goal is going to be $318,000. So you can see why it's important that we figured out how much money you want to make per year, because when you put your goals into Command, it's going to ask you. So I want to make $318,000. Now it's stating that my expenses are about $30,000 and my cost of sales are $20,000. So let's talk about, what does that really mean? Expenses are things that you have to pay all the time, no matter what. So my expenses look like my real estate dues. SAR, Sacramento Association of Realtors, that's 600 a year, right? My Metrolist and my E-Key, that's 150 a quarter. I have to pay the office my 95 per month. What else would be an expense? Something that I have to pay no matter what. Can you guys think of anything? This is where it gets really fun. Is this an expense? Is this a personal expense or a business expense now?
Business expense.
This is a business expense. I pay $180 a month for that. If I have an assistant, I have to pay them, right? So you'll know what your expenses are, or you should. Your car is now what? Is that a business expense or is that a?
Business expense.
That's a business expense. Yeah, that's a business expense. So let's see. For my businesses, just for real estate, I'm going to add this up. I've got $950 at the beginning of the year for my E&O insurance. That's my $95 a month. Then I've got my SAR dues. That's $680 a year. Then I've got my $150 a quarter for my MLS and my thing. So $150 a quarter, 150 times 4. Oh my gosh. 400, 600. Then I've got, I have an assistant. I have an assistant that I pay, and that's about $2,500 a month. Oh. That's 30,000 right there. So I've got about, let's say, $50,000 in expenses every year. Okay, yours might be smaller. One, you don't have an assistant that you pay for. Okay, so my cost of sales. Does anyone understand what cost of sales means? Cost of sale is it's a cost, but only when I sell something. So what happens to your check when you sell a home? Do you get to keep all of it?
Ask the question one more time.
When you get a commission check, do you get to keep all of it? Some of it
No.
comes out, right? And it goes to who?
To the broker.
To the broker. So you've got broker costs, you've got transaction coordinator costs. Okay. So let's say we've got at least $18,000 in costs. $125 per transaction. So I'm going to say we probably have about let's say $25,000 in expenses. That's $18,000 to the brokerage. And then I've got cost of sale for $125 broker audit fee. I've got transaction coordinator fee. So I'm just kind of guesstimating here about how much I'm going to spend on that. But you guys could all put just 18,000. Just round, and then maybe round up to 20,000 because you've got your broker audit fees that you're going to have to do. Okay. So my business is made up of mostly listings right now, but I've been buyer heavy before. So I'm going to leave it at 50-50. You guys are in a position to where you don't necessarily know yet, but you can assume it's probably going to be about 50-50 buyers and listings. So we're going to leave that alone. Average commission per unit, they have $9,000 as the average commission. I'm going to put 10,000. Oh, I put 100. Okay, so now my average commission is 10,000. So you can see here that I've got an annual profit goal of 318,000. I'm 50-50 buyers and sellers. Average commission is about $10,000. Now it's going to help me break it down even deeper. I'm going to hit continue. Okay, so these are conversion rates. Use recommended rates. Always use the recommended rates. You will be able to understand your conversion rates better the more that you close. A conversion rate is this. if I go on, if I get 10 leads, I'm going to get one appointment. If I get one appointment, I have a 95% chance that I'm going to close it. The standard, industry standard is however many leads you get, you're only going to close 5% for a contact. And then once you make a contact, you're only going to close 5% for an appointment. But once you get them to an appointment, your odds of working with them go up to 75%. If they come to the appointment, your odds of actually working with them are 75%. So that means I got to have a lot of leads, right? I got to have a ton of leads and I need to make a ton of contacts because only 5% of the people that I talk to are going to be interested in buying, selling a home. So this also shows you that you got to take big action. Okay, so let's hit continue. All right, so now they're taking my conversion rates. They're taking how much I want to make. They're taking that I work with buyers and sellers. And then they're saying, okay, here's your average listing cost, average sales cost, or average commission. Now let's check out my goals once it's all done. So now it's thinking and it's going to tell me okay, so here's my goals. It says that I'm going to need 30 units. I need to close 30 deals in order to hit my $300,000. Okay, that means I'm going to need to put 40 contracts in because does every deal close? No, not necessarily. Some things are going to fall out. And that means that I need to work with 54 people. So I need 54 buyers and sellers to say, yes, I want to work with you in order for me to get at least 40 under contract in order for me to get at least 30 closes. But it goes back even farther. So now it says, I got to set 72 appointments. Does that make it, doesn't that make it easier? Like if all I said was, I'm going to close 30 deals next year. How? What does that really look like? But now that it says I need to keep 72 appointments, okay, I can do that. And then it's saying, if you need to keep 72 appointments, then you need to actually set 96 appointments. That's easy. I can set 96 appointments. Okay. And then it says, if you want to have this big of a business, this is what I really love. If my database, if I can have a database of 700 or if I can contact and talk to 729 people, I will have 30 deals. This is what I like about this. It breaks it down for me so that I know what I need to do on a daily basis. So now I need to contact 729 people over the next year. Let's just break that down, shall we? Let's go 729 divided by 12 months. That's 60.75. So let's round up 61 contacts a month. Let's divide that by 30 days. Sorry, people want days off. Let's divide it by 21 days. That's how many working days are usually in a month with 2 days off, right? So let's go 60 divided by 21. You guys, I need to talk to 3 people a day. If I can contact 3 people a day, 21 days a month, that means that I will, and that's a contact, that means having a conversation and asking them who do they know or if they're looking to buy and sell or talking about real estate. If I do that 21 days a month, that means that I will have made 60 contacts in a month, which means I will have I've made 729 contacts in a year, which should equate to me having 30 deals. Doesn't that make things a little bit easier? I mean, Mayella wants to make $200,000 a year. So let's do that. Let's change it. Let's change everything in here. Does anybody else want to make 200 grand a year? Hey-oh. I think we all do, right? Okay, so let's do 200,000. And Mayela doesn't have any much expenses for that. She's got her SAR dues. She's got her MLS dues. So let's go 600 plus 600 equals 1,200. She's got her 95 a month plus 1,200. So we're looking at, like, let's say she's got about $3,000 in expenses. Her cost of sale, she's probably going to have, like, let's say $20,000 in cost of sale. Let's leave this all alone. 50,000, 50% buyers, 50% sellers, average commission. Let's even break the average commission down. Let's say that she only gets a $9,000 commission. Remember, it's taking into account her splits. So you do gross commission, okay? And then let's hit continue. We're gonna leave her rates all the same because we're new with this. All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. It's thinking. Okay. Where'd it go? Is that right? Let me go to this. Goal setting. Did it work? Yeah. Oh, next year. That's why. This year. Next year. Okay, it's thinking. Let's see here. Maybe I did something wrong on my last one. Oh, I dropped the commission rate. This is why. Okay, so because I dropped the commission rate down $1,000, changes things. So you can see how average commission is going to change things. Okay, so average commission is 9,000 instead. Mayela, you're going to need 24 deals in order to hit your $200,000 goal. That means you're going to have to probably sign about 34 deals in a contract. You need to get 44 people to want to work with you. And that means you're going to need to go on 58 appointments, right? Okay, let's talk about this. It says here that you're going to need to talk to 1,566 people a day. So let's break that down. 1,566 divided by 12 months, 130 people a month. So 131 people, well, it's 130.5. So we're going to round up. 131 people a month divided by 21 days. You need to talk to 6 to 7 people a day, only 5 days a week. That means you get 2 days off to do whatever you want. If you talk to 6 to 7 people a day and you can set 58 appointments and keep them all over the next, that's only 1.5 appointment. That's not even 1.5 appointments a week. There's only 52 weeks in a year. That's 1 appointment a week. And if you can get 44 of those people to say, yes, I want to work with you, you can guarantee yourself 24 closes. Do you think that the other 20 people are going to just disappear? Probably not. Probably not. They're probably going to do business too. So I know that if Mayela continues to focus on talking to 7 people a day, she is going to have a phenomenal business that's going to pay her double 6 figures. And she's going to be happy. All the squares on her, all the boxes on her goals are going to be checked. And she's going to come here in a year and she's going to be like, oh my God, I did what I wanted. So excited. Does anybody else want me to roll through their goals and show them how many people they need to talk to every day? I can.
Let's say for me, like 350K a year.
300. Well, I just did it for 318. So you're going to need to, so let's do it again. Okay.
350 million.
Did you say 350 million?
No. I didn't say that.
Okay, 350,000. We're going to leave everything the same. Continue, continue, Set goals. It's going to take some time. Ba, 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 ba. Oh shit. Sorry, sorry guys. My boyfriend got into a bike accident. I know, I'm so scared. He's okay. He texted me, but I might have to wrap this up early. Okay, so all right. So $350,000 a year. You're gonna need 42 closes. So that means you're gonna need to get 56 people under contract. 74 people need to get into an agreement with you. So you're gonna need 2,620 contacts a year. So let's do this. Math. 2,620 divided by 12, 218 a month. Divide that by 21. You need to talk to 10 to 11 people a day. You need to have conversations with 10 to 11 people per day that says, hi, I sell real estate. Just want to let you know I can help you, but hey, do you happen to know anybody that's looking to buy and sell? If you can do that every day, you'll have a very big business. So you guys, Ignite tells you to talk to 10 people a day. Do you think we're trying to set you up to make a lot of money? Yeah, we're not just flapping our gams here, guys. Like, this is real stuff. That means that you could have everything on that circle in the next 12 months. Easy peasy. You'll have your name up on the wall. People are going to be clapping. We're going to pat you on the back. We're going to be like, what's up, top producer? And all you have to do is talk to 10 people a day. I've seen it happen. If you guys want an example of that, you can talk to Dennis Elliott. Dennis Elliott was in your exact same position. He'd actually been in the business for a few years. He's at the Sac Metro office. He went to John and John said, look, just talk to 10 people a day. Just call 10 people today and talk to 10 people. And he did that very day, and he got 3 referrals. Dang. That's what started him. That's what started him on his journey. And now his name's on the board. He makes a lot of money. He makes a lot of money. And he started out in your exact same position. Like, I don't know what to do.
Amy?
Yeah.
Is there any script that some can use? Like,
oh yeah,
just
absolutely.
To start?
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody has access to the Ignite toolkit. Everybody. In fact, I'll even put the link in the chat, but you should all have access to it already. But hold on one second. Let me get to it. There it is.
What?
Copy link. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Shit.
All right, guys, it's in the chat. Look in the toolkit. You can find script practice, Ignite Spark script book, new to real estate script right here. Boom. New to Keller Williams. I like this one because it's not new to real estate. It's like, nah, I just joined Keller Williams. I'm good. Remind them that you're in real estate. Calling referrals that they've given you. Calling personal and professional industries. Door knocking scripts. Social media messages. All of it. Inventory script. We got low inventory. Are you thinking about selling your home? So we've got those scripts for you, girl.
Well, for boys.
How about
Sorry?
open?
Did you say how about for boys? I
How
said we
about-
have the scripts for you, girl. We have the scripts for boys too. Silly.
Oh,
Okay, what were you saying, Jenny?
listing.
For listings? Yes, girl. Yes, you gotta go in there and check those out. Okay, so listing scripts, they're in the exact same spot. They're in the other book that's in there.
Listing presentation.
Listing presentations. Yes, there is an example of a listing presentation. Do you have a listing that's coming up? You have a listing? Two? Okay, then you need to call me so that we can go over this together, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, guys, so I am so
Thank
sorry
you.
for this, but I got a family emergency. My boyfriend wrecked his bike. I know, I'm so scared for him. I have to go pick him up. So I'm so sorry about this. I hope that this was valuable for you. Tomorrow's class is Thanksgiving. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Tomorrow's class is a video. All you have to do is watch it in your spare time. You can take all weekend to do it. I don't care. Take your time. And then if you send me 5 ahas of something that you learned from the class, then we'll give you credit for it, okay?
But tomorrow, no class.
Tomorrow, no class. We're gonna eat turkey instead.
Yeah.
Hope your boyfriend's okay, and I'm sorry about that.
All right.
I know, me too.
Yeah, I
Thank
hope
you guys.
everything is okay. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for understanding.
Thank
I hope you all have a really good day. Bye.